What's up? Tyler,
Hey.
Keith, Luke, we're here with a movie review. We're going to talk about The Dark Tower, which is based off of Stephen King's
Based off
books.
of that shirt.
Based off of, this shirt.
Yeah. This has Idris Elba, Matthew McConaughey, and others. But
Tom Taylor plays Jake. It's just right there. It's also the only other one that's listed. So that's the only other one.
As the top, or the...
Top cast.
yeah. So, this is going to be a really interesting review. Like, you guys know a lot about the Dark Tower series. You've read all the books. I know jack shit. I just thought this movie looked interesting. I like Idris Elba. I like Matthew McConaughey. I'm going to go see this movie.
All right.
So, I'm coming at it from a I know jack shit angle, and I'm coming at it from this is just a movie to me angle, where you guys know all the shit. So, it'll be interesting here, but yeah, I mean, the Dark Tower is getting pretty critically panned.
Getting hit pretty hard, critically.
So, what do we think of it? Gotta watch the rest of the video, find out.
Yeah. Watch the next video to find out. That's all this was, just a tease.
Yep.
Exactly.
Bye.
It's a teaser trailer for the review. What did you think of the Dark Tower?
I think that it is a good movie that has some big missteps, and just to kind of get this point out of the way, I think the biggest thing is that it tries to make a movie that is accessible to everybody, but then also somehow at the same time goes in assuming you know who characters are and what their motivations are, and that kind of really brings the movie down in a lot of ways.
You said it perfectly. Literally right before we started filming. I forget.
It's basically this movie's so weird because you end up having people like us who are fans of the franchise, and yet people who know nothing almost equally as confused about what's going on in some ways.
Yeah.
It's a strange movie, and it's so weird because I think really the only place the story in the movie really kind of falls flat is maybe plot and development wise. Definitely development wise, like especially in the characters and the world. But like, and I guess depending on your opinion, I guess you could see the plot as being a bit of an issue, which I guess we'll get to maybe later.
Yeah.
But I think it's a kind of, before we get into the details, my 5-second review is it's not as bad as some people, or I don't think it's as bad as some people are claiming, but it's still not all that great.
We wanted from the Dark Tower.
Yeah, still not all that great, but
yeah, like Keith said, I think the actors played their characters very well. I think the only one I wasn't sure about Matthew McConaughey either, but seeing him as the Man in Black, yeah, I can totally picture Matthew McConaughey being the Man in Black now. Idris Elba does a fine job as Roland, and what's his Tom? Is it what is it?
Tom Taylor.
Tom Taylor does a very good job as Jake. But people coming into this movie like Tyler, who have never read these books, who don't know who these characters are, like he said, won't know their motivations, and really won't know their connections to each other. Because Jake, Roland, and the Man in Black are very, very intricately connected, and they really didn't venture into that at all in the movie, which kind of is a very big plot point from the first book, and kind of follows through for the remaining 6/7, depending on where you put Wind Through the Keyhole.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my brief. I tried to come into this with an open mind. It's a different interpretation, especially considering what some of the promotional art said. Okay, go in with an open mind. It's not going to be the same as the books, but hopefully it is going to be similar enough that, those of us that have read them will recognize it. They went all over the place, but regardless of that, it was still, I think it was a good movie. It was better than than a lot of the critics are kind of giving it.
I mean, I don't think this movie is bad. I think, kind of what Keith said, it needed a lot more development of all the characters and their motivations and a little bit of their backstories, because like I was completely fucking lost on that stuff. It's like the movie starts with, and it just drops you in where there was supposed to be another 30 to 45 minutes right before that where you get familiar with these characters, and then it really starts to get going and all that stuff. It starts to pick up. It's like that stuff just wasn't even there.
It didn't even really start with really one of the main characters. It started in a location we don't even see in the books until book 7.
Yeah, once you're done talking, I'll add something for it. I'll
get your points out. And I just think there's, they don't have to explain literally everything, but there's just certain things that I just wish had a little bit more backstory just to get you a basic understanding of them. Like the Man in Black, I think he could have used a lot more backstory. Roland, the tower itself, I think could have used a little bit more. It's like, here's this stuff, here's what they're gonna do, but why? Like, I don't fucking know. Like that type of stuff just totally could have used. And also, I just think it could have used it, and also, like, the pacing in this movie is just 5,000 fucking miles an hour until the end. And it's, it's a shorter movie. It's 95 minutes long. And I just feel that by the time you get to the end feels so rushed and so just deflated that, like, it's like laughable to me at the end. I'm just like, this is fucking lame. Like, if there was a little bit more build up to this stuff, a little bit more understanding of everything, and the pacing was a lot better, then this ending probably would have been fine. But the ending was just so oh, here it is type of thing. Well, yeah, this kind of stinks, because I was kind of enjoying myself the whole way through. Like, those are the two really big problems with this movie. But I think in terms of, soundtrack, visuals especially, I think are really well done in this movie. Especially, was it Midworld?
Mm-hmm.
Midworld, yeah.
It looks fucking cool. I loved all the locations that they had and everything. The fucking action is phenomenal. I thoroughly enjoyed myself with that stuff. It's so just kind of over the top, and I think Roland in his character on screen is almost a little refreshing to see with action, just because of how good he is with guns and how he loads his weapons and all this stuff. Like, that stuff was fucking awesome to watch. And I think, coming from someone that knows jack shit about these books and this franchise, like, there's a lot of interesting shit that they kind of tease that I'm like, that would be cool to know about a little bit more. And it seems like a really fucking cool world. Just flesh it out a little bit more for people like me, to maybe where I'll watch this movie and I'll go, that was cool, now I want to go read the books or whatever. I want to invest more time into this franchise to learn more, or I'm fucking stoked for their TV show or movie or whatever the fuck they're doing next. Like, and it has potential. I just think there's two just massive areas that they just kind of fall flat on, fall right in their face.
It could have benefited from another, like, 45 minutes.
Yeah,
just to help the pacing out. I think the only character that they did justice was Jake in a lot of ways, because his character, they kind of flesh out again something that the book doesn't really do, which is what happens before he meets Roland. In the beginning,
it did in the drawing of the 3.
Especially in the context of the first book.
Yes.
I'm speaking of this in the context of the first book.
That's true.
And also, the movie starts off with Jake instead of starting off with Roland.
Technically, it doesn't start off with Jake, but yeah.
Yeah, fine. But, like, whereas it seems like the movie is more about Jake's story I feel. Whereas definitely the book, especially the first book, and well, all the books are more about Roland's story and the people with him. And so, I mean, that I can understand in some ways. It's a little bit easier to build, especially with this kind of very grandiose, out there kind of world that the Dark Tower series really is.
Yeah.
To kind of build it off of a character whom is focus it and start off with a character who is normal, then kind of start with this very much more abstract character that is Roland. Roland isn't it? I mean, the whole idea from Midworld and all that stuff, it's abstract and whatnot.
Yeah, the whole concept of what Roland is as a gunslinger is very abstract.
It also just seems like this movie because it's called the Dark Tower, and so in some ways I feel like they were trying to, on one hand, get
The
a whole
readers.
story.
Yeah.
Like, boom, whole story done. If you wanted to, you can just watch this movie and you're done. But then at the same time, build it forward. Because, I mean, you know, like, which there are elements of other movies that are kind of borrowed and thrown, or other books thrown into this movie, which I think is fine. Like, the whole thing about this movie not being exactly the same as the book, I'm perfectly fine with. I kind of
okay
expected
with that too, yeah.
Because in the books, they never really explain. It's never really explained how different each journey is. We don't know if it's the same. All we know is that the start point's the same.
Yeah.
That's all we know. That's all we know for sure. So
The starting point for where we pick up
Is
starts
the
in the Mohaine Desert. Yes.
So, like, you know, the fact that the events could be very different, and again, these events that are, you know, are possible references to later books. Sure, things could happen this way. It's just that I feel like they rely a little bit too much on, again, the fact that, hey, there's going to be like a mini series after this. You know, with the stuff you're saying about, you know, because like it's okay, we can explain the tower then. We can explain the Man in Black more then, because I mean,
We can explain the Tahine then.
because if it follows the books, this isn't maybe a mind. I mean, it's a movie. You can probably they very much Hollywood the shit out of the first book.
Yeah.
Because the first book probably would, at least from a plot standpoint, would do even worse to fans and critics as a movie.
Well, that's why I was saying, like, if you're gonna do like a movie first, you could probably get the first two into like a Peter Jackson length movie or a Christopher Nolan length movie.
Maybe. So
More than 95 minutes.
Yeah, so I just think that, you know, again, because the Man in Black will be back. More if they follow the books.
Yes,
he'll be back, which might be a spoilerish thing, that statement, but I mean, it's a Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
How do most of these movies end with the bad guy? But you know, so it's like, oh, we can explain more about that, and then, you know, of course, I'll have more time to dive into Roland's character, which in some ways with Roland, I can almost excuse that a little bit, because it's like
You really don't learn much about Roland in the first book anyway.
Yeah, so
you really don't learn much about him until the fourth, about his backstory.
So I think that they rely a little bit too much on that to kind of go back on the little details of there just needs more development. But like Tyler said, you know, I think they did a great job, and it's probably the best job they were going to do at realizing this universe visually.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
In the sense of you know, and even building a world that it's been a long time since I've read the books. It's been quite a few years. That it might even be like its own take, like with, you know, there's the scene shortly after Jake meets Roland and the area that they're in, and it's like, oh, I know what this is. Nobody knows what this is. This is
I got what they were trying to reference there.
And
yes.
I'm like, okay, yeah. So it's like the world they're building, and
they did skip the very, very major plot point of the first book, though.
Yeah. So I just, the music was good. I thought like all the actors did great, especially the main three. I thought for what limited role they had, I thought Jake's parents were pretty alright. But like,
very different interpretation of his family.
Oh yeah, but they just needed a better script behind them, or again, for the development and stuff, they just needed a better more stuff behind them to really stuff. Because I mean, even though their performances are, I think, like the best. I think these are like some of the best that they could have done for these characters. I mean, like I said, you said Matthew McConaughey. Even though maybe not my first choice is the Man in Black, now it's like I like it.
All right,
I like it. Roland, I think Idris Elba does a great job, kind of catching that kind of dark, mysterious, almost brooding nature that Roland kind of is.
Yeah,
And then Tom Taylor does good as Jake. It's just I just wish there was almost a better movie underneath them. But
Yeah, that's what sucks is because you have great actors,
great performances.
and, like they can only save horrible writing so much.
I kind of want to see what got cut from this.
If much did.
There's for a 95-minute runtime, a lot of things probably.
Yeah, I really wonder why it is 95 minutes. Like, did they cut stuff, or was this what they wanted to do at 95 minutes? Or
because
whatever?
even if you add,
it's a little puzzling.
Most movies that are like this size go for at least 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's weird for a movie to go under 2 hours anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, why?
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, maybe it was their vision. Again, it would be kind of weird to kind of go from here's this 2.5 hour long thing, and then here we're gonna do a mini series. It's like an hour long each, and then technically, depending on a network, it's actually only like 40 minutes.
But even still,
you know what I mean? It's just like to go from this thing where we're boom, singular entity, 2 hours. Here it's chopped up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I get that in that sense, but then it's like that didn't help the movie at all.
No. I just feel from what you guys tell me about this franchise, it just shouldn't even be movies in the first place. Like, it just seems like there's so much cool shit here and cool characters and stuff that it just fits fucking perfectly for a TV show.
Like you could do the entire Dark Tower series in like, I'd probably say like a 4-season TV show.
How many episodes per season?
I mean, 12, 13. Because some of the stuff, you have to admit, some of the stuff in the books, it's like, okay, come on.
We could drop some of this.
Oh, no, not drop, but
Yeah.
it's like,
We could
oh yeah,
speed
this
up.
is like, here, it's not as bad as, say, someone like George R. R. Martin,
Oh,
but
no.
like, oh yeah, here, we're just going to spend lots of time describing stuff. And it's like, yeah, boom, picture done, couple seconds, okay, move on. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the scenes involving the little bit of Roland's backstory that you get in The Good Gunslinger, that could be done in, like, within an episode. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
absolutely,
so, like, a lot of the stuff can be like
the whole sequence could be an episode basically, like that.
yeah,
flashback.
and then like it's just like
and then
looking at
boom,
the plot
there's
point.
there's you end at the way station with Jake, and then next episode, boom.
Yeah, it's like looking at the whole. I looked up the plot for the first book. I'm like, oh, you could tell the first book in like 6-7 episodes, and boom, there's the first book.
You can probably do the second book in about 7
Yeah,
episodes.
so yeah, it's a little bit of a shame. It's just this movie, man. I was hoping this was gonna be a big thing.
I had secretly high hopes for this movie. Yes.
I mean, I don't think it's as awful as everybody was saying.
It's not.
It's just two just very key areas. It just falls right
Flat
on its
on its
face to me. If they were fleshed out more.
I feel like if I were to look at this as just only as a Dark Tower fan, I would absolutely hate this movie. I kind of think or at least the plot of this movie and the way it progresses, I would hate this movie. As someone who came in kind of backed out from that, still an okay movie, not great, but still a good movie. I think it's score time.
Score time. 6.5. That's what I'll give it.
I think 6.
6.5 as well.
Cool.
It's okay. It's average. It's unsatisfactorily average.
It'll hold your attention.
Very par movie.
Yeah.
in a lot of ways.
To me, like, it held my attention because it always kind of had something new that was interesting, but that interesting thing had no backstory to it.
Yeah.
Or
Like, it's kinda
any
like
of,
who
like...
are the skinless?
Yeah, exactly. Like, who are those people?
The two skins.
And
Two
if
skins, yeah.
there was maybe
thing.
just a little
The
bit...
tahine.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they could have done the tahine, more of the tahine. They could have, because did you see the missing pet poster for Jake that they
Yep.
kind of posted as promo? They could have used the low men for this. They could have done more with Sarah and the vampires at the Dixie Pig. They could. I wanted to see more of Midworld. We didn't spend enough time in Midworld.
I could see that like, I mean, the one thing that I'll give this movie that I almost didn't expect, even though there is the one line in the trailer, there's a couple right in the middle of the movie funnier-esque moments, especially when they first show up to Keystone Earth,
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
just like, it's like no, I've been here at Keystone Earth the whole time. He's in the hospital.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
What is
That
it?
whole
Do
scene
you have
was
more of this
awesome.
sugar? I'm like,
But here's the thing: it did a very good job, kind of portraying the awkwardness of Roland when he actually does show up physically on Keystone Earth. He has no clue what the fuck is going
I
on.
love when he gave the doctor some coin or whatever. He's like, for your services, thanks.
For your services,
Like,
may your
I'm
days
done.
be long.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. The one thing, though, and I'm not saying this is like a big deal or whatever, it was just a question in my mind, like, is there gasoline on Midworld?
Yes.
Okay. Because when he tossed that gas can, I'm like, how does he know what that's going to do?
You saw that they had electricity on Midworld?
Yeah, okay.
they got electricity.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
There's only like a couple things that, like, because like I said, looking at the plot, I guess we're in the full spoiler-esque territory.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
I
get
can
our spoilers.
understand
Hold on.
him
Spoilers.
in case he didn't pick up that we kind of transitioned to that part like we normally do.
Yeah.
I kind of understand why they didn't do the whole Roland letting
Jake
Jake
fall.
die thing. Like, I mean, he's significantly less of an asshole in this movie.
But
he's a
Roland
bit
was
of an asshole.
I know, but when we're first introduced to Roland, not only did he just slaughter an entire town that was kind of bewitched to try to kill him, technically, but still slaughtered the entire town and the woman he'd been kind of,
well,
screwing there. But he is that very gruff character in the first book. He doesn't really change until he starts going crazy because, the whole paradox thing with Jake coming over.
yeah.
Like, if Jake came over through the house the second time, which meant he and Roland both started going crazy, and then he actually, it became that father-son relationship you saw. in the
Yeah,
movie.
it's just like they took that. The ending's very similar to the last book. The whole ending sequence.
Yeah, there was that nod there.
It's similar. There
was a lot of Easter eggs.
The sequence in the town similar to which book is it? You mentioned it earlier.
Wolves of the Kala.
Wolves of the
With
Cow.
the Tahine attack on the town.
Yeah, it's like
town where the portal is.
interesting, and it's just like this is what I meant earlier. It's like the movie's called The Dark Tower. If they call the movie The Dark Tower, the Gunslinger or something, then I would know because I kind of expected something like this in this movie anyway.
Yeah.
Going forward, I would have been like, okay, cool. It's the first book where it's like, okay, they're gonna try to. It's the Dark Tower. Like
They're gonna try to condense.
If all else fails, this is
They're
the
gonna
Dark Tower.
try to
movie.
condense 30 years worth of writing down into 95 minutes.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the plot wise, with the exception of not properly explaining some stuff, I thought the plot was fine. Like again, I kind of was always just like, I mean, hell, one of my favorite things about the Harry Potter movies is the liberties they do take, and they do stuff differently. I mean, the third book has so many things. I mean, the third movie has so many things that's like, this is nowhere near in the book, especially from that movie on. And it's like, this is some of the best stuff in the movie. Is the stuff that they just kind of make up, and it's like,
same with Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
The most recent seasons, they departed from.
But
the
also,
books,
is the book
some of it's
this
still
book
solid.
done? Has this book even started being written?
who knows? But
yeah, so I I mean, I'll definitely, if they do end up still making this miniseries, despite how
I'm gonna
poorly
watch it.
Oh, I'm gonna watch it because it's like, despite how poorly this is doing, I hope they still make it. Because give you a chance to redeem yourselves, like to do something good. I mean, again, maybe this would be the thing. Maybe if like somehow that does really well, maybe it's just like it just continues on as
a
such.
series, and maybe we can forget this movie ever existed as a thing.
Probably not.
Probably not. But still okay. Still a good movie. A lot of Easter eggs for those sharp-eyed, constant readers, and also those that are sharp of ear as well. But yeah,
Did see something the other day that the whole TV series that they're supposedly doing, they got Glenn Mazzara, who was a showrunner for The Walking Dead, is on board for it. A network is not yet attached, but it's being eyed for 10 to 13 episodes and a home on cable or streaming outlets is what they're looking for. That's what Sony's looking for. Production is eyed to begin in 2018, and they're going the events of the Gunslinger, Wizard and Glass, The Wind Through the Keyhole, and other tales need a long format to capture the complexity of Roland's coming of age.
yeah, they do.
I like how they just literally admitted what is wrong with this movie right there in that one sentence.
Yeah,
To capture the complexities of these books, you need a long form.
which I think, guys, keep the cast.
Oh yeah, keep the cast.
Take the funds from this movie. Scratch everything this movie has done. Restart as just series form. Do it the whole way through.
But you have maybe it works out. But TV's always been genuinely lower budget, but still,
Well,
you can get some higher end stuff like.
I'm gonna say, what's the budget on Game of Thrones?
Well, that's
so
HBO.
So like, are you going to be able to keep the same high quality over 10 to 13 episodes and pay all these?
I mean, that might be why it's only 10 to 13 episodes.
Yeah,
Because, to
hopefully
go much
they
longer.
can maintain that, or else that's going to be fucking weird. If like, here's this movie that looks beautiful and has all this great CG and blah blah blah, blah and now it's a little bit.
Well, now it's
downgraded.
Like, if they're gonna do Wizard and Glass and Went Through the Keyhole and the Gunslinger,
Like the drawing of the
and the drawing of the three, and who's gonna play Eddie? Who's gonna play Detta/Odetta/ Susanna?
I mean, whoever they got doing the casting for this movie, don't fire that person. Keep that person on.
Yeah, I mean,
because like I said, great cast. Obviously, they have an eye for who should be these characters. So let them kind of.
I still think Hugh Jackman could have done a very good Roland, but
Well, that's just because he looked like it from Van Helsing. That's literally the only thing I'm basing on. Also, I mean, he played Wolverine, who's
and
a
didn't
gruff,
he
stupid
do
character.
like that thing about some dude in Australia? Like he did a movie about like a outlaw or something.
I don't know.
Oh.
He might have.
But I saw the another Easter egg I saw was the thing about the spaghetti week at the movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
Roland is very much based off of these spaghetti western movies. Man with No Name, Pale Rider, Fistful of Dollars.
I'm surprised it wasn't like some of the more overt ones that are normally in the books. Like, I mean, then again, I don't think they reference Salem's Lot until later in the books anyway. But
yeah, well, they don't run into Father Callahan until Wolves of the Calla.
yeah, so okay. Well, we're kind of just spouting
Rambling.
stuff that maybe
Always
not a
making
number of
sense.
people.
Tyler's eyes have glazed over.
Eminem mentions Salem's Lot. Is he in the Dark Tower?
Maybe. All things are contained within the tower.
Yeah. All right.
Because the tower contains size. And that is the universe's greatest mystery.
Is Eminem rolling? This
No,
might be the
but-
only opportunity that he's got.
No.
Kill the Man in Black.